Anthony Edwards. Are you shitting me?
You know what I love is that we started the day with Jalen Brunson and we ended the day with Anthony Edwards in that magical show he put on there against the Suns.
Sun season's over. The T-Wolves send them packing, sweep them, winning 122-116. I was just amazed by what we saw from Anthony Edwards in that second half. Playing tough defense, hitting big shots, dunking, coming up with huge plays left and right. He had 40 in this game. 30 of those points came in the second half.
Oh my God.
In the fourth quarter, he had 16 points on 6 of 7 shooting. He was the best player on in a game that featured Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Cat, Beal. Anthony Edwards was the best player on the floor.
Absolutely.
He's that guy.
Absolutely. And it was so fun to watch because I think one word to describe the way he was playing there at the end would just be automatic. I mean, I'd just be watching the game. He'd be taking a shot and I'm like, really? Yep, really? Yep, really. I think I even said that to you at one point. I was like, if he missed that one, I would have been like, I probably shouldn't have taken it, but he's not missing anything.
No.
There wasn't a thing it's not only was he not missing his shot from the mid-range, from the 3-point line, he wasn't missing the open man either. He drove to the baseline, had a double thrown at him, somehow wraps it around the double, finds Mike Conley in the corner, 3. I was so impressed with the way he was able to get everyone involved, the way that people were still relocating and understanding, hey, be open, be ready, because we have someone on our team in Anthony Edwards that's going to find us. He's going to find the best shot for this team. And a lot of times that was when he had the ball in his hands.
And I shortchanged him a point. 31 points in the second half. 31 of his 40 in the second half. 9 rebounds, 6 assists. What was so impressive, too, about this game as a whole is this was probably the toughest one for the T-Wolves, right? They had to fight for this one. The Suns played a little desperate. They were playing small ball. They were playing physical. A ton of whistles in this game. The T-Wolves were knocking down shots early, but you never felt like this game got out of their control, even when they were behind. It just felt like they were on the cusp of pulling away.
I'm with you. The confidence that they had while being out there. And you say that this was the best opportunity for the Suns to actually get a W in this series. And they still couldn't find a way to get it. Even with all the pieces, all the shot makers on their team, Devin Booker dropping 49 points, they still couldn't find a way because the T-Wolves were just that much better as a team. And that was on both ends of the floor. I mean, how many times have we talked about their defense? You got McDaniels, the way that he slows down anyone along the perimeter. I mean, I know against the Sacramento Kings at times we're like, wow, that is De'Aaron Fox's kryptonite. And tonight, at times, even with Devin Booker scoring 49, when he was put on Booker, it was like he was just making him work so hard to get anything out there. Really fun to watch on defense.
Tonight's game did shift a little bit, especially defensively, because all these guys got into foul trouble. You know, McDaniels is playing with 5 fouls. Towns had 5. Gobert had 4. On the other side, you had Nurkic with 5. Beal fouled out. Booker had 5. So guys also had to be careful a little bit too. I'm glad you brought up McDaniels. I know we talked about him a couple of games ago, but you know, we talk so much about what he does defensively because of his length and his ability to just defend.
Move. Yeah.
But it's the offensive development that, especially in the playoffs, you're seeing him knock down shots. And what a difference it is. He's going to get good looks. And Anthony Edwards making so many of the right decisions. Sorry to go back to his passing. There was one play where Ant drove baseline in the fourth quarter, and I'm like, oh, the double's going to come. And, of course, Ant's like, I know the double's coming. And he threw that laser to Conley in the corner.
I mentioned that.
Yeah. But he had a couple of those passes where he's in the air and just an absolute bullet, just a dime, where you go, how did you even pass it? It looked like you were, about to take a shot at the rim and you're looking to the corner and the ball's whipping around, they got great shots. Even when they were missing tonight, this team got great shots.
And one more thing going off of his passing too. No, because I think when we look at someone like Luka Doncic and his ability to pass, we really talk about, wow, he has that size so he can pass over guys. Ant just has the vision, the IQ, the athleticism, all these other things that elevates him and allows him to also make those wild passes to the open man.
It seems like he thrives in these moments.
Yes.
And I don't think, I think so much of the conversation on all the shows coming up on Monday on ESPN, or, Fox Sports, all the debate shows, they're going to be just shitting on the Suns tomorrow. And by the way, shit on the Suns. They deserved.
Yes.
But I think the T-Wolves need to be talked about more.
Yep.
Because they have been the most impressive team to start the playoffs.
Yeah.
This was a complete performance tonight. Yeah, it was a little more challenging for them, but you never felt like the Suns had a legit chance in this one because Anthony Edwards took over. Their defense has been incredible, and now they get to rest a little bit. I think tomorrow it is going to be so much about KD, what's his legacy, Booker, will Beal no-show. And I'm not saying like these questions don't need to come up. I just think the headline should be T-Wolves. It's not about what the Suns didn't do. It's about what the Wolves did. That's my point. Celebrate the fact that Ant has taken a step where you're going, is he one of the best guys in the league? Yeah, probably. Cat, I'll tell you what, man, I've been hard on Cat over the years.
Yeah.
He has some huge shots in this game. Some big threes, made some big plays. I thought he played well.
One of the biggest plays that you even mentioned while we were watching the game was when I think the ball either came back out to him, and usually when he's beyond the arc, ball bounces
it was a second chance opportunity. Yes. He felt like he was going to rush it.
And he'll usually just take that quick three, right? Instead, pump fake, went to the basket, high off the glass, and one opportunity for him. And it was just like his patience, his decision-making, even that moment. It was like, okay, even Cat has matured here. It was great to see that he's allowed the game to kind of come to him in his frustrating moments. How many times have we seen over the years that just completely take him out of the game, screws with the entire team? And it felt like it happened a few times, and then it stopped. It slowed down,
That's
and
a great
everything
point.
was good.
They were called for 27 fouls. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right. There's a lot of whistles in this game.
This game was long.
It was super physical. It was like a 3-hour game. The Suns got called for 26 fouls. We saw the Suns take 36 free throws in this game. Minnesota took 31. But actually, that point I didn't even think about was the fact that Cat didn't get totally caught up in it. And there have been times in the past you're like, dude, you just got to play through it. This team is growing.
It is.
And this team has done it the right way, right? They drafted well.
Mm-hmm.
They made some swings that were criticized. The Gobert trade was definitely criticized, right? And right now, it looks amazing. Gobert doesn't get played off the floor anymore because he's a good defender, obviously. Could be Defensive Player of the Year, but they have defenders all around him.
Yep.
Ant's taken a huge step defensively. Cat's not like a joke defensively at all. He moves well for a big. McDaniels, we talked about him. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, who's not only playing defense, but knocking down shots.
I want to give Mike Conley just so much love for like a lot of this. It's not like, oh, you add a vet and that is the savior, that is the hero of the team. But at the same time, I mean, you add a vet like Mike Conley who not only can do it from a leadership presence, just where he's been in this league, experience and everything, but then what he's still capable of doing on the floor at such a high level. And even tonight, just dropping 10 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, being a manager out there still in his 34 minutes. But you talk about the maturity of this team and where it has gone since he's been with this squad. It has just gone in such a different direction.
It's one of those trades that I don't think gets talked about enough.
Really?
It flew under the radar. Everyone at last trade deadline, what were they talking about? Kyrie going to Dallas. They were talking about KD going to Phoenix.
Sure.
But the T-Wolves going from D'Angelo Russell, who had the flashes, of course, what he can do offensively, to Mike Conley, who's doesn't have an ego. He's comfortable in his own skin. He's been in the game a long time. Like you said, in Memphis and Utah, playing in big games. He doesn't need to be a 20-point game a guy. game a guy anymore. He needs to just go out there and play the right way, and he does that.
Yeah, and I think also too when you look at last season, I mean, this is something we've also mentioned with like McDaniels was hurt, like everything.
Nas Reed was hurt.
Nas Reed was hurt. Everything was just a little bit different, right? I mean, that makes the defense so much different. That makes the energy of this team so much different. So not only do they grow and mature with having more consistency, more health with their team, with this roster, but everyone also took a little step in their games as well. And this team, this Minnesota team, not even playing their best team basketball tonight, I would say, still found a way to win, found a way to sweep the Suns. They looked pretty damn solid in these 4 wins against the Phoenix Suns.
They dominated.
And that's really hard to do, especially in the playoffs.
And now they get to play the winner of Lakers Nuggets. I think everyone wants to see the T-Wolves Nuggets rematch from last playoffs, where as we just talked about, the T-Wolves were shorthanded. What's that look like this year if we get that matchup? But the Nuggets have to take care of business too. They haven't closed out their series. So Minnesota looks awesome. I think this series makes me even feel differently about maybe their prospects about how far they can go, man. I feel like they've got the pieces. It's about, to me, long-term, can Gobert and Cat stay mentally engaged and don't let the officials get to them. They both can do that at times. There's going to be tough calls. Just keep playing through it. You play the right way. You play discipline. With that guy, Anthony Edwards, on your squad, you're going to have a chance. The guy is one of the best players in the league now. You could see it. He plays with joy. He plays both ends. I love that guy.
I love watching him play, and that's why I think if you're an NBA fan out there, just embrace it, enjoy it, soak it all in, because like isn't that the commercial like Next Up, or like they try to like market it like Next Up, like he's here, he is here and he is doing his thing. So like appreciate it while it's here, it's young, it's happening right in front of your eyes.
And congrats to the T-Wolves for winning a series. First time they've done that in a long time, I believe 19 years.
Yep.
Crazy to think about that. The 2 teams with the longest playoff series win droughts now. The Hornets and the Sacramento Kings both at 20 seasons.
Hey, sometimes you got to be there. And another thing, Deuce, that we did not mention yet, sending lots of love to Chris Finch. Oh my God, what a weird, strange way to end that game. 90 seconds left in this one. Mike Conley in transition, runs into Chris Finch. He goes down on the sideline. Everyone's like, okay, what's going to happen? And then you see everyone huddle. You see people give the fist, and you're just like, what the hell is happening?
When they put the towels to like cover, I'm like, is it a compound fracture? We learn after the game, Shams Charania reporting that it's a ruptured patellar tendon for Chris Finch. And he had to be helped off the floor. It felt like they took him the longest way possible. Was that the easiest way in Phoenix? I'm like, he had to go up the concourse.
I was like, why are we bringing him up any
Get
stairs
this guy
right
to the
now?
back.
Yeah, move some chairs.
So who knows if he's going to need surgery or not? Ruptured. It seems like that would be the case. I'm not a doctor, but all I'm thinking about is like, we were discussing this a bit too, is like, dude, that kind of impacts him and how he coaches, right? Like he's not jumping up to yell instructions at his teams or work the officials. Like it's going to change the way he goes about things.
Just look at the way that you even saw at time him look at the back of the bench and then look at the like, we're going to challenge that, we're not going to challenge that. Like I know if it's
ruptured, he's not going to be able to walk. Is the point. So that's going to change things.
It really does. It's real. I know. I think sometimes people go like, well, he can coach sitting down, and of course, like he will be.
It's going to be different for him.
It's still going to be different. It's going to alter things, and just really shitty. Hoping he has a speedy recovery, no matter how they have to go about it.
Let's talk about the Suns for a second, Morgan. Man,
there's doesn't it feel like they're just screwed for the future? I mean, we could talk about them tonight, but really, I think it's more about what's going to happen next.
What's funny about them tonight? You go, they were in the game. Like
I know,
Katie and Booker showed up. You know, those guys combined for 80 plus points in the game. 49 for Booker. Durant had 33 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 blocks. But look at the others. Beal was rough, dude. 9 points for him in 32 minutes. He fouled out of this game. Nurkic, 9 points in this game. He had 5 fouls. They didn't get a lot from anybody else. And you're right. I don't know where they go. You know what's going to happen? They're going to fire Vogel. Oh, it's all Vogel's fault. It's not all Vogel's fault.
You got to blame someone.
The reality is when you put a team like this together, where it's so top heavy that you're paying 50 plus million for Beal, for Booker, and KD. You have to be really good with what you put around them. Grayson Allen was really strong this year, but other than that, the role players you didn't know. Like Eric Gordon had some times where it looked good.
He had some moments.
But we said this weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm saying it now. You don't have a point guard and you have a big who can't guard or protect the rim. How are you going to win a championship? You made these moves to win championships. You sacrificed young talent, draft picks, and cap space. And now you're kind of stuck. Bradley Beal is under contract. He's got a no trade clause. You don't have the flexibility to do anything else. Bobby Marks says their committed salary, $209 million next year. That's well above the second apron, so that limits what you can do. Your free agents include Royce O'Neal. It's going to be too tough to bring him back. It'd cost you like $1 billion to bring him back. Eric Gordon has a player option to Kogi. Bull's a free agent. Drew Eubanks also has a player option. So how do you improve around them? KD's another year older. They don't have a point guard. What the hell do you do?
I mean, all of those things, right? And I don't know. I obviously do not have the solution. I mean, my solution would have been to not do this in the first place. And I think the thought around a name like Kevin Durant and pairing that with anything is we got a championship. And that's just not the case anymore. And it's not a knock on him or his game because he is still absolutely incredible. But it's still a team sport. And you have to have the right pieces to make everybody and to elevate even someone's game like Kevin Durant because he is aging and his game is going to be a little bit different and they also need help. And sure, you can look at Devin Booker and look at that being the other help. You need
a point guard.
It's going to be what it is, and what it is a first or second round playoff series. It's not a championship roster.
But those moves you made were to win a championship. So
So
now you're like, what do? You got this new owner who wanted this. I was just thinking when you were saying that, I'm like, imagine Mike Conley on that team. Just having that type of guy on your squad to run things. They didn't have that this year. And I'm like, I don't know what the path is for them. Yep. Like, do you start selling off parts? Okay. We're going to trade Durant. Okay. Are you getting better off of that? Like, what are you getting out of that? You're going to piss off Booker at that point? Do you just blow it up in general? Or do you just go, you know what? This is it. We just have to make it work. And we're going to try to find the right vets and the right coach to bring it all together. I just think it's really going to be tough for them going forward. And it sucks because they had a team that went to the NBA Finals that lost to the Bucks. They won 60-plus games with Chris Paul, with Bridges, and Cam Johnson. They had this squad that was young and fun, and now they went all in on this, and this is what you get. A first-round exit. You don't even win a game. And I feel so bad for the Suns fans because they've been through so much over the years.
Oh my God.
They finally look like they're coming out of it, had that finals appearance. They won a ton of games. You get KD, you're feeling amazing. But then you see this, and you think about what they were thinking about at the end of the season. Suns fans were probably feeling good. Like, hey, man, we had a tough schedule. We finished with some big wins down the stretch. We're figuring it out. They got absolutely destroyed in this series by a team that is just better, who's deeper, plays better defense, and more complete and cohesive. You can't build a team like the Suns built a team.
No. And I think that's more apparent than ever. And you're seeing some of these better basketball teams, not with just star players, not with just some key pieces, but these teams really take the next step in the postseason. I think a team like the Knicks is a good example. Now we'll see where they go, but my point is when you see a style of play for an entire team that buys in to an identity, it's good things are going to happen. So for the Suns, I don't know what their identity was. I think they just relied on their identity being Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. And Bradley Beal, like we've said, with
in and out of the lineup,
and
those
with
guys
the no
hurt.
trade clause. So, like, what do you even do with that situation? I don't know. Rich people, figure it out. Do your thing.
All right, people in the comments, a couple of questions for you. Do you think Minnesota is a legit title contender now? Ooh. And maybe some of you said, "Go, I already did." Do you feel like they have a legit shot if they play the Denver Nuggets? Ooh. And what do you do if you're the Phoenix Suns? Do you blow it up? Do you just go, we got to keep making it work? Let us know in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.